Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. Moon Lambo here on Twitter posting this. Anyone know the cause for this massive increase in new XRP account activation the other day? It's a 293% increase from one day to the next. Guys, take a look at this chart here. Number of new accounts activated. You can see the spike here, the number of new accounts that have been activated. So, we're looking at this wondering what the heck is going on. Ripple it in, responding to this. And, considering there are always new developments going on the XRPL, this is most likely the case. He says most likely a new AD farm being created as there was a corresponding increase in trust lines being created. So you can see since the beginning of the month, March, that the number have been tapering down since then, but total transactions were up near 5.5 million. And you guys can see here the trust lines that were created, 67,000. And that number has been tapering down. March 4th, we're only seeing about 462 now. That number has been going down. Total transactions have been going down as well. So I think maybe they are onto something here with new developments. We are always going to see more activity on the XRP ledger, and account creation is just one of those things that we tend to see. Mr. Q down here saying, I don't know about that, but it's caused this for sure. Guys, take a look at the XRP to BTC increase. Bringing up the chart here, XRP to BTC on the hourly. Wow. XRP recovering against Bitcoin, recovering against Bitcoin essentially means recovering against the rest of the market. And we can see it is forming a bullish candlestick. When you just compare that, like if I were to put up XRP to USD, you guys can see it has increased quite a bit since that drop that we saw back a couple of days ago. So coming back up to this micro level of support, if we compare that to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still staying relatively flat. So XRP to BTC price, XRP is rallying, BTC still staying relatively flat. Bitcoin right now trading at about 22,300. And bringing up the XRP price here, 37.5. So we have seen a bit of recuperation for XRP. The market's still holding above $1 trillion. The entire crypto market down here, you guys can see most coins staying relatively flat within the last 24 hours or so. XRP up nearly 2%. It's not much, but compared to the rest of the coins, we aren't really seeing too much movement. Everything is still staying relatively flat right now. Sento Sumo Saba here on Twitter posted this, the list of native digital tokens that have applied or passed and issued a unique digital token identifier, or a DTI, to be used in the new ISO 20022 messaging format is over 100. And so you can see the entire list. She did link the link here in this tweet. The entire list is downloadable. XRP is number 724 on the list. So she's just posting this, a few screen grabs here from the Digital Token Identifier Foundation. And so these are all ISO 20022 projects. XRP, obviously, part of this. Number 724 on the list. And all these coins have their own DTI identification number. So if you guys want to take a look at, some of these other coins here, look, there's Ripple. XRP is the long name here. But if you guys want to take a look, all this information is in this description in the downloadable link. Want to keep moving along, though, because we got lots of stuff today. Wrath of Kahneman here posting this. This has to do with recent Ripple ODL partner MFS Africa. Guys, they just happened to partner with Western Union. It doesn't seem like that long ago that there was this whole rivalry, when Ripple decided to partner with MoneyGram. And, we were all speculating at that time, well, what's going to happen with Western Union? Are they going to, develop some kind of distributed ledger technology? Or are they going to adopt, something else to be able to compete? Well, now look who is jumping on board, at least in Africa. MSF Africa partners with Western Union. So this is to enable individuals and businesses across the continent to receive money from more than 200 countries. The service, which is slated to debut in Madagascar, will see funds from all around the world pass through payment rails provided by MFS Africa, one of the continent's major payment gateways. MSF Africa's digital payment network connects to over 400 million mobile money wallets, 200 million bank accounts across Africa, and over 200,000 agents in Nigeria, enabling cross-platform and cross-border payments for remittance companies, mobile network operators, banks, non-bank financial institutions, and global merchants. The collaboration between MFS and Western Union aims to provide customers, companies, and global development organizations with accessible payment choices across Africa, increasing integration between the continent and the rest of the globe, and extending financial inclusion across Africa. Wow, I never thought I would, finally see this kind of thing happen. Although Bearable Guy did let us see. Was it Bearable Guy or was it someone else? I'm trying to remember. There was a meme that was posted. It was that meme where he has the choice of two buttons to push, and one of them was, do we partner with Ripple directly, or do we, partner with this company that is already Ripple enabled? And basically, at the end of the day, you are going to be running on RippleNet regardless. And this is a prime example of this. Western Union was very critical of Ripple back in 2018. Now look who is jumping on board, partnering with MFS Africa. I know for those of you guys who are maybe new to this space, this doesn't seem like such a big deal, but there was a time where Western Union CEO was underwhelmed by Ripple's performance. They said they trialed it. They said they didn't really save a lot of money using the, I believe it was the X Current product at that time. But technology has changed. And obviously now, since we're seeing a lot more companies integrating with DLT platforms for cross-border payments, Western Union has to jump in line. They have to jump on board and they have to make the decision. And so, at least in Africa, they are doing that with MFS, one of Ripple's ODL partners. So wanted to thank the Wrath of Kahneman for pointing that out. It's interesting, too, to see where the rules are going in the United States. This one from XRP Crypto Wolf. U.S. lawmakers are reintroducing a bill to force crypto miners to disclose their emissions. So, this is going to bode well for those cryptocurrencies that obviously don't require mining. The bill also requires the EPA to study the effect of crypto mining has on the environment. So just to give you guys the lowdown here, these lawmakers have introduced a bill which was first introduced in December and is co-sponsored by a couple of other lawmakers here. They're looking at the impact of crypto mining. A list of witnesses scheduled to testify at that hearing wasn't immediately available. The pollution generated by the crypto mining industry is growing, said Markey in a statement. While we're working together as a nation to face down an existential crisis that puts the health and safety of our people and the planet in jeopardy, crypto miners are sucking megawatt after megawatt from our public grids and emitting skyrocketing greenhouse gases just so they can make a buck for themselves. So sounds like these guys are really looking to crack down on crypto mining in particular. So, all those proof of work coins, I think they're going to be, I think they're going to be a lot less of them in the near future. I don't think that the smaller projects are going to be able to, really get up off the ground. Although I think in this day and age, a lot of these new projects are not relying on proof of work. But if this is where legislation is going in the United States, obviously, cryptocurrencies like XRP, Algorand, XLM, a lot of the environmentally friendly coins, which are also WEF coins, those ones are going to do really, really well. And it's not just limited to the WEF coins. Many different cryptocurrencies now do not use the proof of work method. But I think it's just a sign of the times. They're focusing on the environment. They're focusing on legislation. What else are they focusing on, guys? The exchanges, the on-ramps and off-ramps. John Deaton predicting that a lawsuit could be coming against Binance. So this was just tweeted out by CoinDesk, okay? The latest story here, Binance US is operating an unregistered securities exchange, says an SEC official. Now, this could have negative ramifications for Binance.us. So they've been said that they've been operating an unregistered securities exchange in the United States, and that staff believe the sale of the VGX token by Voyager Digital violated federal securities laws. Speaking at a bankruptcy hearing to determine if Voyager should be sold to Binance.us. So guys, pay very close attention to this deal here because I think a lot of it hinges on the Voyager deal. Binance wants to buy them. SEC senior trial attorney William Updegrove said he was responding to Judge Michael Wiles of the Southern District Bankruptcy Court in New York, who said at the outset of the hearing that the SEC has provided little guidance or specifics about its objection to the Voyager sale. The staff believes, based solely on the facts and circumstances currently known to the staff, that the offering and sale of VGX tokens has the attributes of a security transaction. The staff also believes that Binance.us is operating an unregistered securities exchange in the United States. They do not want Binance to get one step ahead of them. They do not want Binance to have that leverage. They do not want Binance to purchase Voyager. That is my assumption here. And, as John Dean is pointing out, there's likely going to be a lawsuit that follows. Jeremy Hogan responding, will the SEC sue Binance or Binance.us? They are two different entities technically. And so, there's a lot of speculation going on around this. Binance, obviously one of the biggest, or the biggest, I think, now cryptocurrency exchange on planet Earth. They do have a lot of power. They do have a lot of jurisdiction. They've been working very carefully to make sure that they are completely compliant in the regions that they operate in. So, this is why we see the different subsidiaries, and this is why we see them comply to, each and every government's requests. So The other thing, too, is that they're very, very secretive of what's going on behind the curtain. They're not really giving us any insight on how they operate or how they're structured. There was an article that came out the other day that was suggesting that Binance was similarly and eerily structured the same way that FTX was structured. I don't know if that was just, these guys making it up for a reason to take them down, or if they're actually structured in that way. This is a really interesting story that is unfolding. Obviously, the U.S. government does see Binance as the next big threat. At least that's how I see it. So what is going to happen next? Really, really good question. I also happen to see this from Adam Cochran with regards to Binance too. Oh, and then there's also the BUSD coin, right? SEC suggesting Binance is unregistered securities exchange on the grounds of BUSD, their stable coin. So this is a separate part of things, that is an unregistered security. And so he's likening this to brutal 4D chess. Binance has to settle, or else they'll be open to discovery by the U.S. agency. If they settled, it would block the Voyager deal for sure and result in a penalty and likely industry exclusion in the U.S. for executives, takes out their market-making entity as well, but would also soft precedent to bully other U.S. exchanges. So a multi-prong effect for U.S. regulators here, why it would be a big success for them to get Binance out of the way. Twitter seems to have broke and lost the remaining tweets, but basically there is no way CZ pulls back the curtain to save the U.S. entity. Essentially what Adam here is saying is that CZ will likely sacrifice Binance.us in order to continue, doing business in the rest of the world. Anything crypto needs to leave the U.S. will suffer as a result, and the blame can be placed on Gensler and the Biden administration. This coming from 22 Cent Club here on Twitter. The opportunity for the U.S. to dominate innovation in crypto like they did with the internet has now passed. That's just a small part of this. The Binance story, I think, really big for U.S. regulators. Obviously, they see Binance as the next big threat. FTX was, I think, and some others think, was the conspiracy, was the play that they had in their back pocket so that they can look and point and go, see, these guys are bad. Now we need to regulate the heck out of this thing. And some are suggesting it was all pre-planned. I mean, I'm not saying one way or the other. Nevertheless, Binance, I don't think they're in bed with the U.S. government, and this is why the U.S. government actually sees Binance as a threat. CZ has a very interesting game of 4D chess, as Adam Cochran puts it, in front of him. So I guess we're just going to see how that plays out. I wanted to thank Adam and John Dean for pointing that out. Mr. Hubert here with another interesting observation with regards to Sullivan and Cromwell. If you guys have been following the ETHgate story, well, get this, guys. Sullivan and Cromwell just deleted / tried to cover up their own press release from October 2022, a month before the FTX bankruptcy. And this is what they said in the release, October 22, about preparations for a possible future bankruptcy of FTX, a month before it happened. Not a conspiracy theory. Check it out for yourself. And he posts the screen grabs here, October 6, 2022, with regards to this particular hearing. And then when you click on the link now, sorry, the content you have requested cannot be found. Things that make you go, The Twitter sleuths are out in full force today, uncovering more with regards to the ETHgate situation. He goes on to say the restructuring transaction adapts a technique from settlement systems for financial institutions to protect customers from the worst effects of bankruptcy. It also addresses the first time many of the legal uncertainties associated with the nature of cryptocurrency assets and their valuations during bankruptcy proceedings. The transaction is subject to bankruptcy court approval and other conditions. So a very interesting observation here regarding that story and, the continued shadiness, I think to put it mildly, of the SEC. Now remember, Brad Garlinghouse was on Bloomberg just the other day discussing Gary Gensler's method of regulation by enforcement. Well, Gary Gensler has come out now and responded to this. Listen to this.
Now, Chair Gensler, I'm pretty sure you might say, well, look, a founder in that sort of business might be saying this, but what about some of these players, we've spoken to many who've perhaps been part of previous administrations who are now, advisors to some of these companies and worried a little bit about the holistic nature of really trying to regulate and worried that it is more about enforcement rather than the rules of the road at the moment?
Caroline, there's nothing incompatible crypto and our securities laws. Our securities laws were brought about to protect the investing public against fraud and schemes and manipulation. And it was through this idea of full, fair, and truthful disclosure. registering with the SEC when you're raising money from the public and the public's anticipating a profit. It's pretty straightforward, actually common sense approach to helping the public in investing. So this broad field, we have one goal at the SEC is for them to come into compliance, whether it's the tokens, that's basically people raising money
Yes.
or offering these tokens. And it's also what I'll call the storefronts, but they can call themselves crypto exchanges or lending or staking as a service or other intermediaries to come into compliance and ensure that they don't mislead the public, but also that they don't commingle the funds, they don't take the public's funds and do things we just don't allow in our financial markets. We don't allow the New York Stock Exchange to also play with the customer's funds and make markets, run a hedge fund, run a dealer, be in the clearing business. We separate out those conflicts.
Mr. Gensler, thank you for your time. You've set out the goal there. And what I want to ask you about is the results of your actions. You have asked a number of names in the crypto industry to register their products with the SEC. Very few have, in particular, those that are most known to us, the bigger names in the industry. Why are they not acting on your requests?
Well, the law is the law, and they need to come in and properly follow the laws, and we will work with them to do that.
Yeah, great answer, Gary. When we know the truth, the SEC is out there to ambush cryptocurrency companies, and this is why very, very few have come in now and, decided to register with the SEC. I mean, if Gary Gensler and the SEC are going to go around and rule by enforcement, well, that's just not going to work for the crypto industry, and I think we know that. He's got some very textbook stock answers here that I think would appease most people. I think if they heard his answers, we need to protect the public and we need to do this. And this is what the SEC's always been doing with traditional securities and so on and so forth. Obviously, though, you can hear Gary Gensler is not addressing the tough questions. Why aren't these cryptocurrency companies complying? Well, it's because they don't trust you, D-bag. They just simply don't. Gonna keep moving, guys, because there has been an update with the Ripple SEC case. Ripple has now filed a letter regarding a recent Supreme Court case that supports Ripple's fair notice defense. This opinion strongly supports defendants' fair notice defense because the government's prior guidance appears to contradict its present litigation position. So guys, this is a huge update, many speculating about this. Crypto Law here posting this. So supplemental authority in support of the fair notice defense. Ripple cites the February 28th Supreme Court opinion. So this is just from earlier this week. The BITRUE versus US affirming a fair warning should be given to the world in language that the common world will understand, which the SEC clearly failed to do with XRP. Another reason why the case is all about crypto and not just Ripple and XRP. The fact that it takes $100 million in 2+ years to fight a case against the SEC, that's the real crime here. Coming from Holo here on Twitter, the justice system does not favor innovation when the rules aren't written in stone, and the SEC knows it. How much business has Ripple lost in the USA in 2 years? Other people down here responding to this. So there was a case that was made, an opinion in the BITRUE versus US. Language should be given to clarify for the lay people here. Ashley Prosper commenting with this tweet, there may be very well a Ripple test for cryptos in the future, but my question is this. Does Ripple have to be the one to go to the Supreme Court to make it? XRP may get its clarity, and other projects sued by the SEC may compare themselves to Ripple. So this is, the Ripple effect, I guess, in not so many words. Those projects, for example, Ethereum Foundation, may go to the Supreme Court arguing they are comparable to Ripple, thus creating the Ripple test. Or am I completely wrong on thinking this? Whether it's called the Ripple test or something else, I do think that there is definitely going to be a new form of a test for cryptocurrency specifically. Some people, though, getting down on this decision and saying that it's because Ripple is losing confidence. So Bill Morgan here retweeting this out from Cryptocurrent on Twitter. Beware, after losing, Ripple will play the Supreme Court BS card vowing to win. Same BS hopium they tried with the SEC case. This will give them more time to sell XRP. You've been warned, blah, blah, blah. Don't fall prey to their shifting narratives to frame themselves as the confident underdog. And so he retweeted out his, or a screen grab of his tweet. I already called it. Current Crypto says they are changing their losing narrative. But we were confident about the Supreme Court nonsense to keep selling XRP to continue dumping on your hands. This is a negative opinion, a negative position on why they're doing this. Do we have reason to be worried? Bill Morgan here responding, indicating you will appeal if you lose is not unusual. And let's not forget, Bill Morgan is a lawyer in Australia. It is part of the narrative to place pressure on the other party to settle. How many negotiations to settle a legal proceeding have you been involved in, I may ask? Very good question. Yassine Mobarak here also responding. Well, I would add that the judges at all levels, including district court level, don't like their ruling to be appealed and even worse, overturned on appeal. Judge Torres knows Ripple will appeal if she rules against them, so this filing by Ripple is a message being sent that if she sides with the SEC, then the battle moves on to a higher court where her ruling will likely get overturned. So is it a strategic move by Ripple, taking their strong court case and saying, hey, look, Judge, we have seen this now. This is what was ruled in Bittner versus the US, so you better rule in our favor. John Dean here also giving us some insight to cool us down a bit. I don't think we have to worry too much. A lot of speculation on why Ripple would file this now. Some people are saying it's because Ripple knows it will lose because they're less confident. There's a very simple why they filed it. The decision is from the Supreme Court and was handed down only 4 days ago. So let's not forget the immediacy of this most recent decision. Judge Torres could possibly file her decision at any moment. So that's the other thing, right? We're expecting a verdict by March. Hopefully that is still on the table, or could it be 2 months longer? The point is, this isn't a decision from the Federal District Court or even an appellate circuit court. This is a U.S. Supreme Court decision decided on February the 28th, 2023, only 4 short days ago. The Supreme Court decision is relevant regarding one of Ripple's affirmative defenses. The lack of fair notice violates the due process clause of the U.S. Constitution. People overthink and try to look for reasons other than the obvious one. Essentially, Justice Gorsuch elaborated on the requirement under the Due Process Clause for the government to provide fair notice of what is prohibited. As in Bittner, the government's prior guidance appears to contradict its present litigation process. And as in Bittner, many experienced securities law practitioners and industry participants were unable to anticipate the government's current theory. That's the reason it has to be filed so late. If Judge Torres finds that Ripple offered and sold XRP as a security, this Supreme Court decision gives Ripple's fair notice argument a few more teeth. So it's because we're getting this Bittner verdict so recently that we're seeing Ripple capitalize on this opportunity. It would actually give their fair notice argument more teeth. I've already went on the record to say that I have no doubt Ripple wins before this Supreme Court. The West Virginia versus EPA case alone is reason to believe Ripple wins. This recent decision is icing on the cake. So guys, you heard it here from John Deaton. Jeremy Hogan also chiming in. Ripple just filed a strong case supporting its fair notice defense. Strong because it comes from the U.S. Supreme Court itself and states that regularish people like you and me need to have guidance to know what the law and the rules are before we are sued. And so Jeffrey XRP down here saying, are you still standing firm on your March 30th date with a Ripple victory or at least XRP clarity? And Jeremy Hogan responds, I've got the ruling pretty good, but have messed up the timing before. But I am tying myself to James K. Filan's March 30th date. So guys, we're already 4 days in March. Are we going to see something very soon? These XRP lawyers have their thumb on the pulse of the case, and they're thinking a verdict is going to come within the next few weeks, more or less. Here's to hoping. I'm crossing my fingers, by the way. Anyway, that's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.